Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Rookie Card Collector 123 video. In today's episode, we're going to continue our look at the Negro and Winter League baseball memorabilia. We're going to take a look at a bunch of more photos, scorecards, programs, postcards, anything related to Negro League and Latin American baseball, and picturing ball players on it. So we're working backwards from the mid-50s towards the turn of the century, and we're currently at the 1943-42 time frame. So we're going to start there. The first team photo we're going to look at today is a Type 1 photo. This one is the Aguilas team photo. Pictured there. The star player in this one is Martin Dihigo. Dihigo is usually pretty easy to spot in these photos. He's the tallest player on the team almost every time. He's pictured right in the center there in the back row. This was taken in front of a baseball stadium with quite a few fans in attendance. This would have been a winter ball photo with the Aguilas baseball club. Martin Dihigo. There's probably other significant players there as well. The only one I identified for this one was Dihigo himself. Above that one, we have a previous year. So this is now 1942. And this is not a Winter League club. This is actually a Summer League club. Dihigo was playing in Mexico, and he was playing for a team called Union Laguna. Once again, Dihigo's the tallest player on the team. You could see him standing in the back row there. Union Laguna was one of the premier teams in the Mexican League during the 30s and 1940s era. And again, picturing Dihigo. Dihigo, in his Negro League time, was known primarily as a hitter. But in Latin America, his early years were spent primarily hitting. Playing outfield. But in the later years of his career in Latin America, he pitched. About 50% of his accomplishments were on the mound as a pitcher. Still a fantastic hitter, outfielder, but also one of the best pitchers in Latin America during the late 30s all the way through the early 40s. Came close to winning a couple of pitching Triple Crowns and batting Triple Crowns during the same league season during that time period, mid to late 30s, early 40s. That was the sort of the prime of his career at least in terms of his pitching. So Dihigo hailed from Cuba, native Cuban, and probably the best all-around player in terms of different positions in Negro League history and maybe in Major League Baseball history even, as Dihigo played everywhere on the field, including catcher, infield, outfield, like I said, and then also obviously starting pitcher. Next item we're going to look at is another Type 1 photo. This is 1942. We're going to be looking at a bunch of 42 items now. This is Quincy Troup. Quincy Troup was not a Hall of Famer, but a major Negro League star during the late 30s, 1940s, and into the early 1950s. He was a fantastic catcher, excellent hitter with power, and one of the best Negro League players, not yet in the Hall of Fame, but probably one that will someday get elected to Cooperstown when they put up another Negro League ballot for the voters to look at. Next to him, we've got a 1942 Buck Leonard Type 1 photo. This one pictures Leonard in the Negro Leagues, U.S. Negro Leagues, with the Homestead Grays. Leonard was the star first baseman there, began his career with the Grays around 1935, 1936. And played with them all the way through the end of the 40s. And the Grays won 9 consecutive Negro National League pennants from 1937 to 1946, with Buck Leonard and Josh Gibson at catcher being the primary offensive forces in the lineup. So Buck Leonard, one of the all-time Negro League greats, he was one of the first Negro Leaguers elected to the Hall of Fame. He came after Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson. On top of that, we've got another Buck Leonard image. This one is actually him rounding third base there. He's running the bases. You can see all the advertising on the outfield fence in the background. This one is in his Homestead Grays uniform. So again, this is another U.S. Negro Leagues piece of memorabilia. This one's actually autographed by Buck Leonard. I'm kind of familiar with his autograph. That's a true autograph. And a rare action pose of a Negro Leaguer. And this again, also 1942. Okay, sticking with 1942, we've got a pair of players here. This one is Roy Campanella and Sammy Hughes. Both of them were catchers. This is the Baltimore Elite Giants ball club that they're playing for here. Campanella in 42 was still pretty early in his Negro League days, toward the very beginning of his professional baseball career. And of course, he would go on to star for the Brooklyn Dodgers and win 3 National League MVP awards, as well as his Hall of Fame election. So Campanella and Sammy Hughes. Hughes was another catcher. Significant star in Negro League baseball as well. Not at the scale of Campanella, obviously. But, 2 great stars and teammates with the Baltimore Elite Giants. Okay, next one here is one of the more iconic images that exists. This is for Josh Gibson at catcher. So he's in his catcher's gear. His mask appears taken in the dugout. He's probably sitting on the bench there. His chest protector, his mask is hung up alongside. His big catcher's mitt is in the background. And really nice image of Josh circa 1942 again. Gibson, of course, with the recent addition of the Negro League statistics to MLB, is now the all-time professional baseball career batting average leader, overtaking Ty Cobb. He also appears number 1 in a few other all-time categories as well. I believe he's number 1 in slugging percentage, and probably a couple of others. I don't know all of them offhand. Next to Gibson, we have another Type 1 photo. This is Roy Campanella in an action pose again. It looks like he's trying to catch a foul pop-up behind home plate in this one. He's again playing with the Baltimore Elite Giants. You see the B on the sleeve of the jersey. This one looks like during an actual Negro League game. The fans are packed in the stadium behind him, it appears. So another 42 Roy Campanella Type 1 photograph there. Okay, next one we're going to look at is another 42 image. Let's see if we can get a little better contrast. This one's Raymond Brown. Brown was a star pitcher and also an excellent batter, primarily for the Homestead Grays during that peak time for the late 30s through the early 40s when they won all the National League pennants. And Raymond Brown was elected to the Hall of Fame in 2006 with that large group of Negro Leaguers, 18 of them, I think it was, in total. So Raymond Brown with the Homestead Grays, also circa 1942. This one's a pitching pose. And above that, we have a New York Black Yankees, 4 different teammates on there. And the one I highlighted was Tex Burnett, who was a significant Negro League star. I was not able to identify everybody in the photo there. But they're 4 New York Black Yankee teammates. This would have been the same time period that Satchel Paige played for the Black Yankees, but he's not pictured on there. Okay. Next one's going to be a really interesting piece. This is also 1942. This is actually the front cover and the back cover of a Negro League scorecard that was available at the stadiums during the 1942 season. And it pictures Satchel Paige in his Kansas City Monarchs uniform on the front cover. And on the back cover, pictures Josh Gibson. So, couldn't ask for a better tandem for front and back covers of a baseball program than that if you're a Negro League collector. And this one has to be one of my favorite all-time Negro League pieces because of that. So Satchel Paige with the Monarchs, Josh Gibson in his Homestead Grays uniform, U.S. Negro League program scorecard. Above that, we have a Mexican League team. This is the 1942 Monterey team photo. And Roy Campanella played several summer seasons with Monterey in the Mexican League. This was not one of them, or if it was, he was not on the team but at the time this photo was taken. But the star player on here was Lazaro Salazar. He was another two-way player, kind of like Martin Diego. Obviously not at that level, but he was an excellent pitcher and also a top hitter. He played on the famous 1937 Ciudad Trujillo Ball Club that won the Caribbean World Series. The team that featured Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, and Cool Papa Bell, among other stars. Okay, next one we're going to look at is the 1942 Kansas City Monarchs. That's a good chunk of the team right there, standing just in front of the dugout. You can see the stadium looks like it's packed in the background behind them. And this one's got three Hall of Famers, Willard Brown, Buck O'Neill, and Satchel Paige. All three of them pictured in this Kansas City Monarchs photo. In the early 40s, the Monarchs were one of the top teams in Negro League baseball. They were in the Negro American League, and they faced the Homestead Grays from the Negro National League multiple times in the Negro League World Series. Okay, up here on top, we have Satchel Paige in a really outstretched pitching motion pose. And this is a 1942 Negro League World Series program with Satchel Paige's image on the cover of the program. Really a phenomenal item, phenomenal image of Satchel there. And next to that is another 42 Monarchs photo, Satchel Paige. This one's a Type 1 original photo. And you could see it follow through. Paige was a really tall guy, as you can see. I think he was about 6'4". In that era, 6'4" was huge. So that's going to wrap up today's episode on Negro League baseball memorabilia. A lot of interesting items, some more Josh Gibson items, Satchel Paige items, as well as some other Hall of Famers. Almost everything we looked at today had at least one Hall of Fame player on it. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Have a great day, and I'll catch you guys again on the next one.